Hello guys, my name is Bane and in this video I want to discuss with you how to prepare your PC for Diablo 4 launch day. If you enjoy the video and or if you find it helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. The free follow of the YouTube. Thank you very much. So, one of the interesting questions before we proceed is, are you running Windows 10 or Windows 11? Please tell me in the comment down below. So, how to prepare your PC for Diablo 4? Well, first of all, I would recommend that you upgrade your video driver. So those of you that have an NVIDIA GPU can search for the drivers with the official website, or you can use the GeForce Experience driver section and check if you have the latest driver. NVIDIA owners did get a new driver on 24th May 2023, though I would expect that we, the GeForce owners, may get a fresh driver just as the game is released. If any issues arise during the first few days of the game, note that the game is very close to the 8GB RAM on 8GB cards, especially at the max settings and at the 1440p or higher resolution. I have discussed different Diablo 4 video settings and resolution impact on the GPU memory in a previous video, where I have shown some examples, and I won't make a big talk about it now, but instead I would suggest that you turn at least shadows one setting down, and as some players have reported this, especially if you are running smart access memory on AMD or rebar, resizable bar on NVIDIA, turn it off. It helps the performance a lot, removing the stuttering and issues on 8GB video cards. Namely, those features are nice if you have some extra video memory, but if you are maxed, they can lead to stuttering as the game will start copying data to and from the main RAM memory. Ideally, if you want to avoid these issues with 8GB RAM, then just turn off rebar or smart access in your motherboard BIOS. Now, to answer another question, should you enable rebar? Well, you should enable it only if you have 10 or 12 gigabytes of video memory, or if you plan to play with the 1440p or lower resolution at medium-high settings, not full maxed ultra, and if you are using DLSS at those given resolutions to render the game at a lower resolution, so your video memory is not maxed at all time. Next question, game stuttering and RAM memory recommendations. Please note that online games can stutter when data is streamed from the servers back to your PC, back to client. So not all stutters that you receive are stemming from your PC lack of resource. Now, if you are running only 60 gigabytes of RAM in modern titles, and especially with Windows 11, you may note stutters because Windows has reserved or did not release RAM memory that is actually available and is using it for cache. Admittedly, restarting the Windows before starting the game can free up the RAM, or you can use a third-party application to release the RAM before starting the game. But my recommendation would be to play the game at medium settings with 16GB of RAM at 1080p, or upgrade your RAM memory to 24GB if you want to have a smooth game and play with higher than medium settings. And finally, get an upgrade to 32GB of main RAM memory or more if you want to play the game at 1440p Ultra or 4K high resolution or better. Please note that with Windows 11 you can notice higher RAM usage compared to Windows 10, and that is mostly because the newer Windows 11 will use more of the free RAM memory as a cache to the file system, meaning you will load more game data directly from RAM memory, which is faster, but also you will have less SSD read-writes, which is also good, because you are wearing your SSDs down slower. If you have 16GB or more RAM, you should consider finally upgrading to Windows 11 if you didn't do it by now. Another interesting question is, will Diablo 4 have ray tracing? Diablo 4 officially launches on the June 6th with the early access from June 2nd, but the developers have postponed the ray tracing update for a post-launch, which will arrive probably when the seasonal content arrives in Sanctuary, making the battle against the forces of evil even more amazing and pushing your hardware for more upgrades. If you want to play with ray tracing, I would strongly recommend the GPU with 12GB of video memory and a minimum of 32GB of RAM for your PC. Additionally, I would recommend using DLSS, and if you are looking to play ray tracing without these minimum recommended requirements, then you will be forced to use DLSS Ultra or Performance to get a reasonably smooth gaming experience. So to conclude, I did spend literally hours playing the game, and I did not perceive any strong memory leaks. The game is relatively optimized and runs at 100 FPS at 1440p DLSS quality with an older GPU like 2070 Super or a Radeon 5700 XT. Additionally, in my beta playthrough, I did use a Ryzen 5900X, 64GB of RAM, RTX 2070S 8GB GPU and 1440p settings medium high because it was the best experience with butter smooth FPS around 100, though it was really hard to hit very high FPS frame rates even with low settings. You can check some of my previous videos for performance examples from the beta weekends. So finally now, as I have upgraded to an RTX 4070, I will provide additional performance information for the post-launch game with another video, so stay tuned. And on a last note, I do have friends that were able to play the game even with 8GB of RAM, GeForce GTX 1050 Ti that only has 4GB of video memory. The game was not unplayable. The game was very much playable, on low setting of course, but the gameplay was not smooth. It was interrupted with different form of stuttering. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide, are you satisfied with such gaming experience. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and for more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.